to see.
That'll just be so interesting. There.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Mid-Level Show, and I am so excited to have Fran Wilson, our PA in the Johnson City office, with us today. And Fran, you know, one thing I wanted to talk to you about today was your journey from being a patient to ending up being a provider here at Performance Medicine. And you mentioned before we started rolling just your time as a patient and how that started. Kind of talk to us a little bit about that. When did this start, and why did you come in for the first time?
When I was in my 40s, I had insomnia and I couldn't sleep. And I had gone through the regular way of dealing with that and taken medications, and nothing was working. And I started reading a bunch of different books, and I read a lot of Suzanne Summers' books on hormones and how she had gone through her aging process. And I read all about bioidentical hormones, and I said, I want to be on these. I want to try these. So I searched and finally found a doctor who was providing bioidentical hormones, and that's how I ended up at Performance Medicine as a patient of Dr. Tom Rogers.
And that was for insomnia. You weren't able to sleep, and you thought it might be a hormone problem.
I kind of knew it was a hormone problem because I had suffered from insomnia one time after I'd had my fourth child, and I was still on birth control pills, and I couldn't sleep. And the minute I got rid of the birth control pills, I slept wonderfully. So I realized at that time there's a hormonal connection to my sleep problems.
Do you think that's a lot of women go through? Is this consistent with most women that have children? Like, what is that like? I know we talk a lot about perimenopause and we talk a lot about postpartum. Is that kind of what you were going through at the time, and that's why you sought out hormones?
No, I didn't seek out the hormones right away. I mean, after I had my fourth child, I was only in my early 30s.
Okay.
I just found a way at that time to deal with my insomnia.
Okay.
Which was, oh my gosh, I've tried everything. I get rid of the birth control pills and get my husband to have a vasectomy, and now I sleep great. And then I didn't start having sleep issues again until I hit the perimenopause and I started losing my natural hormones.
For the listeners out there that don't know, what is perimenopause? What is that moment in time?
That is when your body is kind of shutting down, you stop ovulating, and your hormones, for lack of, they go crazy. They go crazy for a while. Nothing.
And that's perimenopause. That's not postmenopause or menopause.
No, menopause is when you haven't had a period for 12 months.
Okay.
It's when your hormones have you're not ovulating anymore. You have no more eggs. You no longer could carry a child.
Okay.
But when you're in the perimenopause, it's just when things are slowing down, sputtering out.
Is that,
it's different for everybody. There is no norm for that.
Meaning it happens at different times for everybody?
It happens at different ages for different people, and it happens differently for different people. Some people get a period every 28 days their entire life, and they stop having periods and they're done. Some people start having periods closer together, some people further apart. Sometimes you'll get a period every 3 months, every 6 months. It's different for everybody.
And is that kind of a signaler to women that they need to do something? I need to get on bioidentical hormones or not? Is that, because I know we talk a lot about perimenopause.
It depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
It is normal to go through it. But it is abnormal for how it was for you, right? But it is normal. So if you're not miserable and you're not having bad symptoms, I don't know why you need to do anything. But if you are miserable and you can't sleep, or you're having hot flashes, or you're gaining weight, you're just not yourself, you're losing your hair, whatever it is, then it depends on how you feel about it, but if there's something that would help, then why wouldn't you do that?
That's really interesting how, how it affects different people in different ways, how, one person could be completely miserable, thinking they're crazy, and another person going through the same thing might not have the symptoms.
Yeah, some people never have a hot flash.
Yeah.
I mean, what would that be like? That'd be really nice.
I wonder if lab levels are an indicator, like say you're not symptomatic, but you're going through perimenopause, where your labs be the same as another person who's going through the same thing but having symptoms. Does that make sense?
Yes, but lab work doesn't always correlate 100% with how people are feeling.
Yep. That's completely true. And I think that's one of the things that, performance medicine kind of prides itself on is we're not only going by the lab level, we're also going by symptoms.
Yeah, symptoms are so important because, labs fluctuate constantly, especially in perimenopause. Estrogen levels can change from being very, very low to over 400. And I think I read in a matter of something like 24 to 72 hours, they can change that much in the perimenopause period. So, 1 minute you're fine, the next minute you're crying, it's just...
So it's a wild period of time.
It is wild. And some people, like I said, some people are fine. And some people are miserable. Some people feel like they're going crazy. Some people have brain fog.
So tell us, go back to where you were when this seems to be the second bout of insomnia for you.
Right.
And
I was in my 40s and nothing was wrong. Everything in my life was fine. The only thing that was wrong was I couldn't sleep, right? And then when you can't sleep, you're a miserable individual. And it wasn't just like not being able to sleep. It was like being awake all night long, being so tired, but incapable of falling asleep.
And that's also going to have impact on other health stuff, like you're just not going to feel good at all.
I would wake my husband up all night long to let him know I still wasn't asleep. Which he still talks about.
I'm sure it was traumatic for him as much as it was for you.
All he would say is, I just don't understand. Because he can fall asleep anytime, anywhere.
Yes. Well, so I don't know that people see the correlation between hormone therapy, bioidentical hormone therapy, and sleep. I think a lot of people correlate with, energy, for men, libido, stuff like that. But, I'm not sure that they put the sleep thing together. What kind of got you thinking this could be a hormone thing when you weren't able to sleep?
Well, because of my medical background as a physician assistant, but also remembering how dramatic it was when I quit birth control pills, that I could suddenly sleep again when I had horrible insomnia.
Totally. Okay.
So then I was like, okay, this is probably hormonal. And that's when I read a bunch of books. So I just thought, okay, this is definitely hormonal. And I just need to find a doctor who will prescribe bioidentical hormones.
Now, was it pretty immediate? So you got on bioidenticals. Was it immediate that you were able to sleep, or was there a period of time where things still felt a little off?
I did pretty well almost within the first 2 weeks, I would say. Definitely.
You noticed a difference that you were able to sleep?
I did notice a difference. I was able to sleep again. But I did find, again, like everybody's different. I was doing the hormone creams and we were testing, and I was not getting to appropriate levels.
Okay.
For our optimal levels for somebody in there, which we kind of gear towards somebody in their late 30s would have. So I was unable to achieve those levels with the creams, so I went to the pellets. And as soon as I got the pellet, that was life-altering for me.
And that kind of brings up a great point that I know Dr. Rogers preaches a lot about is having a baseline level, so that say you go through perimenopause or you're going through menopause, you have something to refer to.
Yes,
and
to see
know where you need to go.
To see what your norm was.
Yes.
And of course, I had not done that when I first saw him, but at least I knew I know what my normal levels were for like estrogen and progesterone when I first saw him, because I was not in menopause.
And what's interesting about this, Fran, is not only did you read a bunch of books on this, but it also inspired you to go back and recertify, because you're a physician's assistant and were for a while. Tell us that story a little bit. So you're back to being a physician's assistant. Tell everyone kind of what that's about.
Well, I every time I would come in to see Dr. Rogers, and I would talk about different things, and then one day he asked me something, and I said, "Well, I'm a physician assistant." And he was like, "What? What? You know all this stuff. You need to come work for me." And so that just kind of got the wheels spinning, and I thought, well, I guess I could do this. And
how long had it been at that point since you've practiced?
I hadn't practiced since, now you're asking questions I can't even remember. It had been a while. It had been 20 years.
Okay.
I had reboarded a few times, and I had kept my license current, and then I was raising 4 teenagers, and I thought, why would I ever go back to work? I don't have any time for myself. That would be crazy. And then I hit the empty nest, and I was like, gosh, I still have a whole life in front of me. I feel good. I have energy. Why wouldn't I do something?
And you're obviously passionate about this. Tell us a little bit about where that passion comes from, because you've been interested from the beginning, it seems. As soon as you found these books and this therapy, kind of tell us some of the passion behind your energy right now.
I feel like it was so life-changing for me getting on bioidentical hormones that I just have this passion to help others. Mm-hmm. I just enjoy helping people figure out what is wrong with them. I want everyone to live a vibrant, healthy life. I want them to wake up and have energy, and I want them to realize it's possible. And if you're hurting and you don't feel good, there are things that can be done.
I think that's so important, and it's such a powerful message you have there, is that there's things available. There's hope, and I think for a lot of men and women, there needs to be that sense of hope, that message. So I think that's super powerful. That's super powerful in terms of how you're seeing that you can use what has helped you to help others.
Well, and I think there's nothing like experience. I love the patients. I feel like being 55. I've been through a lot. I've had 4 kids. I understand what it's like to be a stressed out mom, to gain weight, to not be able to sleep, to, be married to the same man for 30 years. And it just, there's a lot to that if you haven't been through it, you can't understand. Like, no offense, but you will never understand women's hormones.
No.
Until you have experienced
No.
it. Men don't understand what it's like to feel great one day and the next day to be crying and have no idea why.
What is, that is so interesting you say that, and because I hear it and I certainly don't understand that, just feeling like you're crazy, like what's going on here, and you're not. And I feel like, so many people can relate to that, and what's fun is that, based on what I've seen with you guys, is that there are answers, there are some things that you can do. And it seems like a huge part of your mission is that, helping people understand they don't need to feel this way, or they don't have to just say, I'm getting older. That
right.
Sort of thing.
You can age differently if you choose to.
Yeah, so interesting.
And then again, what we do at Performance Medicine that I love is, the bioidentical hormones are wonderful, but there still has to be patient participation. You still have to look at your diet, look at your lifestyle, look at all aspects of your life. Just getting a hormone pellet or being on hormone creams is not going to be a magic bullet that is going to change everything.
And I think that's really important to understand. Like, I think because there's so many things that you can do that's going to allow, the hormones to work better. It's not a magic pill because there really isn't one. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. But Fran, this has been such a blast. We're gonna stop there. Guys, thank you for checking out this episode of the Mid-Level Show. I'm with Fran Wilson in the Johnson City office, and we will always see you guys next time.